and welcome back to Willa Reviews. If you're new here on this channel, I share with you delightful, family-friendly, and faith-based movies and television shows. Happy Sunday, y'all. I hope your weekend is wrapping up quite amazingly. For me, like I said yesterday, like I let y'all know, it is going by too fast. I would love to extend the time, but yeah, we're grateful for the moments that we do have. Anyways, y'all get somewhere comfortable, cozy, snuggle up with your favorite blanket, kick off those shoes, and relax. And know it's the time alone with beloved and Jesus. Because we about to get into a TV show, and y'all know how that can go, okay? I always tell y'all, well, not always really, but I be trying to not take up so much of y'all time, and I know sometimes it can go a little longer than I expected. Like yesterday's video, child, I had no idea. When I was like 30 minutes. Goodness, I didn't really think I had that much to say, but it is what it is. I hope y'all enjoy it. But yeah, like y'all let me know in the comment section below how y'all doing, how you feeling, what are you up to, streaming, watching, have you been to the theaters at all lately? Drop all that stuff down below, because y'all know I love hearing from y'all, and catch me up on anything that I have missed or any suggestions that you would like for us to talk about or to get into, whatever TV show, new or old, that is under this faith-based, family-friendly umbrella and that you would like for me to dive into. Let me know that as well. I'm always open to suggestions. Anyways, before we get into what we got going on today, I got a couple of things. I am trying to catch up, right? Because there's so many different things, for those of you who've been around for a minute, that I have started. And next thing you know, it's like, girl, beloved, what happened? Why you ain't finished this? And some things I have to let y'all know. If it goes like that, there are some things that kind of surprise me, that turn out to be something that I didn't think that it should have been. And so I just discontinued it. And then there are other things that, for whatever reason, I don't know. I kind of stopped and moved to something else. Maybe something new came out and I just never got back around to it. So I've been going through a lot of my history of things, because I want to wrap up some things, forgive me y'all, that I have started on. I don't want to be one of those people that start stuff and don't finish. I'm not a quitter, okay? So this is one of the shows that we're going to get into today. Many of you probably remember, or some of you probably forgot, but these stones, I started this. So today we're going to be getting into episode 3. We're still in season 1. Season 1, I believe, consists of 6 episodes. So we're halfway done, and then we're going to wrap this show up. Hopefully they get a season 2 and many other seasons after that. But for right now, I don't have any updates for you as far as that goes. But we're going to enjoy what we do have, and thank God for what we do have and support. Okay, because so far this show is keeping it very interesting. It is different. It really is different, and it's creative. I never really seen a show like this before. Have a little bit of that mystery in there, and have a little bit of fantasy in a sense, but it's still in our time. A lot of different things are going on that we can relate to here with our main character, McKenna. So anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with our feature presentation. Okay, this show is titled These Stones, and we're going to be getting into episode 3 today. This is a review / recap, so you know, as with any review or recap, we're going to be getting into everything, okay? Pretty much anything that kind of stood out to me that I just want to dive a little bit deeper into, we're going to get into. But you can find this show streaming right now for free on YouTube. So that's right up y'all alley. Y'all right in the neighborhood. Just when you finish this, cut around the corner, hop on over there and watch it. And let me know your thoughts about it. Or if you have already been on this thing, let me know where you are and how you're feeling about this show. Because like I said, it is an interesting take on things. I love the biblical references, I don't really want to call them characters, but I guess for the sake of understanding, I'm going to go ahead and say biblical characters, like the people from the Bible, for those of you who don't necessarily know what I mean here. And so I love that they have been featuring people from the Bible that are helping McKenna along her journey, the journey that she's on right now, because she is still kind of grieving the loss of her mom still. living alone with her dad, and her dad seems like, I mean, the first 2 episodes, he seems like he was just in a pit. As you can understand, his wife, he totally loved his wife, in love with his wife, and so he's been going through it. Seemed like he's just been totally out of it, and McKenna kind of had to been, in a sense, looking after him while she's dealing with her own stuff, while she's dealing with her own grief. That's what pretty much was going on the first 2 episodes, kind of navigating that and different things. So here we are in episode 3, and I'm very proud of the dad here, because he's moving now. He's getting up out of bed. He's looking more like a dad, you know, with the grooming, getting himself together. I know he's still having those thoughts of his late wife. He's still, I mean, I'm sure that's something that you probably never get over. That'll always be with you. But I love that he is picking himself up and trying to get in the groove of having life, knowing that there is still life to live. You still have a daughter here, and y'all still want to work on that relationship and different things. So I love that we do get to see a little bit of him here doing better, because I just felt so bad the first 2 episodes. And let me tell y'all why that I took a little break from this, because this episode, I watched this, whatever it was, I'm assuming probably between 6 and 8 months ago, that the last time that we were revisiting the show, right? And this episode was so difficult for me. It was so challenging for me. Many of you know and have heard me mention, if you've been around for a minute and you've been watching different videos for a minute, you know that is one of my biggest challenges. It's so difficult for me to come to that acceptance when God answers no. Y'all have heard me mention that before, and this episode deals with that. It goes deep into it, doesn't shy away from those difficult questions that we have. And even though you may never get an answer to, and I like that this show doesn't sugarcoat anything, and it doesn't make like it knows or has the answers for us, because I can't stand that. Don't do me like that, okay? It's certain spiritual or religious people out here who feel an obligation, like they have to have an answer to everything. And we know that nobody has the answers to everything but God. And he doesn't always reveal everything to us for whatever reason. I don't understand why he chooses not to. I don't understand why he answers the way he answers. When he chooses the answers, I don't have all of those answers, okay? And I'll be the first one quick to raise my hand and be like, I don't get it. But what I can do is I can be with you in the moment. We can share in this moment of understanding these, and this moment of challenges here. And just sometimes you just want in these kind of times, the most I feel like a person would probably want or could really use in a time like this is just someone being there, just someone showing up, saying, I don't have any answers for you, but I'm here, I'm listening. Let it all out, girl. Just let it all out, okay? Because I know that's the best that, at least I feel like, you can give me at a time, like, you know, if I'm in a season like that. Don't pretend to have the answers. Don't flip it and try to make me feel uncomfortable, bad about something, as if I did something to bring this on, or whatever the case may be. Even if that could be true, because we really don't know. And then sometimes we can feel like, okay, I can see clearly, why did this happen? Because of this or that, you made certain choices. Even if that is the case, I feel like have a little bit compassion, because it doesn't make that consequence or that unanswered, well, I ain't gonna say unanswered prayer, but that no to that prayer, it doesn't make it that much bearable or easier for the individual when you are pointing out their flaws and how they are to blame for this particular situation. And I have been in situations like that when people have showed up in that manner, and it took a great deal of me swallowing the words that you just, or the anger that is bubbling up inside of you, that you want to lash out, and it's like, wow, like really? I'm already down enough. You have to continue to kick me down further, even though that's probably may not be people's intentions. A lot of times it don't be, but some people are just not that sensitive to the spirit or sensitive to people's needs because they never been there, maybe they never faced that. And so all these different things were coming up for me in this episode about 6 or 8 months ago. And so I had to take a break from it. I had to breathe, okay? Because I literally felt like this was me all the way. Not that I was facing the same particular challenges as the character here in this episode, or one of the guest characters here in this episode. I wasn't facing the exact challenges, but it was kind of similar in a sense with the consequences that you were getting and the way that you were feeling. And this character, well, the actress that plays the character Drea in this episode did an amazing job because you felt that pain. You felt the tears to your core, like literally, like this person totally gets it. She understands what that feels like when you come to that point, that crossroads, to know for sure that it didn't matter how much faith you had, God still answered the way that he did. That's difficult, okay? But we're gonna get into it, right? So anyway, so we start out in this episode with McKenna like lying in bed. She's not necessarily the morning type of person. And like I said, she's still in that season of grieving the loss of her mom. Her and her mom were extremely close. And so she's still kind of dealing with that. But she's on this journey of healing right now. I will say she has begun the journey of healing. She's not like just everything's shutting everyone out. Don't, want to be in a room with darkness and don't bother me. She's not in that place, which I'm like, okay, that's nice, okay? I appreciate her courage and different things here to keep pressing forward, to get up and live another day, because I can only imagine just to get up and take that breath, to get up and open your eyes and know, God, I'm still here. It must take a lot, like all the strength in you to do this. So McKenna is lying in bed, but this vision comes to her mind as she's lying there. She's remembering, thinking back to a moment when her mom used to wake her up in the morning, because her mom was like more of a morning person. So when her mom would walk into her room, she would immediately open up the curtains, letting all the beautiful morning glory of sunshine, getting the windows open, airing out the house, because she's like, you just never know what the day is going to bring. Her mom is so filled with just sunshine and positivity, and that's how she embraced life. And that's one of the things that McKenna remembered about her. And then she just goes over to her daughter and gives her a hug, embraces her with so much love, the love that you would love to receive from a parent. And it's such a beautiful scene. And of course, we know that McKenna has to be thinking back to these moments because we know where we are in the present time. But it was still nice to go there. And we love to just go back to some of the happiest places in our lives. It's one of the blessings that we do have of God giving us memories, because we can easily, if we're not too satisfied or too happy about what's going on right before us, we can take a trip down memory lane and go back to one of our happiest places. And I do that a lot. So I felt McKenna here, right? And then McKenna looks at the clock and it's like, oh goodness, child, I gotta get up. Yeah, girl, you gotta get up, right? And she's just like, why couldn't I inherit that part of you, Mom? You're the morning person part of you. Maybe she got it from a daddy, girl. I don't know. But she does pull herself up out of bed, get dressed, because as you know, McKenna is on probation. So she has that responsibility of reporting not only to her officer, but also taking the initiative to make sure that she does make it to work on time, because she has to keep a job. And then on top of all of that, y'all, she got all of that going on. We know about that real life stuff, responsibilities, accountability, and all of that, and certain consequences that you just gotta pay for, right? Then she got the other side, the side where Miriam from the Bible meets up with her at this particular center, a certain room in her, I believe it's in her home that she goes to, that she can meet Miriam there. And Miriam always comes with her with an assignment. An assignment, McKenna never really knows what it's gonna be or what interesting person she's gonna meet. So that's really, like, I guess the fun part about that, I guess I would assume, for McKenna. And it's one of the things I feel like that's such a blessing for McKenna to have. I feel like it's a gift that God has given her in this show, to love her so much, to know the pain that she has experienced, that she's still currently experiencing and trying to get through. And God shows up for her in this way where she has that, almost like that physical sense of touch. And I long for that, y'all. I gotta be honest, I do, because in the world we living in today, we just have to go by faith. We know that God exists. We may not have seen him. I say may because some of you may have with your physical eyes, but for most people they haven't. And we're just moving by faith. We're going by the word of God and having his word and making sure we get into it every day, hiding it away in our hearts so it comes up whenever we need it and all of that. But can you imagine if we can have some kind of physicality that takes us away from this place that we all know that many people can label as evil, in a sense? Like, it's more of that we see and hear about than the good. And so if you can actually go somewhere, like even if you went somewhere in a dream, like say every time you went to bed at night, God met you in your dreams and he gave you a particular word, an assignment, something to comfort you, to get you through those moments when you're awake, when you have to be in this place, you know. And that's one of the things I'm happy for McKenna that she has in this show so far, even though she's going through it in her own way, but she's learning on this journey that God has her on. But she gets to experience that. She kind of gets to step away from the life that we know and get to step in eternity, at least for a moment, and know what it's like and get this assignment from God. And I can only imagine that it just brings you so much comfort. It could help you get through those moments that are so challenging and that just comes with living life. I want that so much, y'all. I really do. I feel like I would so get through whatever, like throw whatever my way, if I can have that what she has, like every day or whenever, to meet with him. Or even if it's not him, but he's one of his messengers, his angels, or something like that. Oh, y'all, don't try to act like that. Don't try to act like I'm the only one that y'all ain't like. Y'all know y'all feel the same way. You know you would too. Don't even go there with me, okay? It is what it is. I can feel it and see it so much. But anyways, that's what McKenna do. So she meet up with Miriam, right? And Miriam let her know that she got another assignment for her. She's going to be meeting up with Sarah. So she's going to be meeting up with Abraham's wife, Sarah, for this particular mission. And she does point out the person that she's going to be helping in our world is a woman named Drea. And Drea is struggling with infertility. And Drea is married. And I believe we find out later that Drea and her husband been trying for 6 years. And at the same time, they've been believing more so, well, I would say the husband as well, but I think the husband came to a particular conclusion a lot faster than Drea did. And Drea was still Drea? Forgive me if I got pronounced wrong. It's Drea or something, but we're gonna go with Drea, right? So she was like believing God for 6 years to have a baby. And alongside of all of this is happening, everybody around her she sees, like even her like co-worker is pregnant, just took her maternity leave, and everyone around her, it seems to be living her dream. Like so many people who didn't even want children are having children and all kinds of stuff. So you can imagine the pain that this woman probably feels every day and just holding on to this slim chance of hope that maybe God would grant her a miracle. And so many different things are going on with her body, because even during this time, her and her husband, take this time away to just focus on, okay, we're just going to focus on having a baby right now, see whatever doctors and all of that. And as Drea is going through this process, she learns that even her own body is kind of fighting against her. And she's having all these issues with her body on top of wanting this baby and believing God for a child. And her husband is a pediatrician, and they have this beautiful home that Drea envisions in her mind. Beautiful, big, talking about a nice yard, everything, like almost walking into the Garden of Eden, okay? That is how nice their place is. And you can imagine, I mean, this big old place ain't just for this couple, and get this just for them. It was, pretty much laid out, okay, you want to have a baby. And so you feel her right away. We feel her. But I did love the fact that she was fighting the good fight of faith, and she was holding on to this hope, knowing that God has done it before. I mean, what she's experienced now is no different. There's nothing new under the sun. God has helped women before in the Bible open up their womb. So if he did it for them, why not for me? And that seems to be Drea's attitude. But she is still struggling. She's still like, in alone in darkness. She's crying her eyes out because she just don't understand. And I was like, oh, I just feel her, because we all been there. Like, we know what it's like to see everybody around you. It seems like the doors are opening for them. Why do they have this or that? They have the spouse, they have the family, they have the dream job, or all of these types of things. God is blessing their channels and is doing extremely well, blessing them with a wonderful community of people, of other believers who are connecting with them in their channel. And then you over here, you're like, oh, you barely get one view. You barely get one comment. Yes, I'm inserting myself in this because that's how we do when we watch movies, okay? Or TV shows, whatever, okay? So I did put myself in there. It's like, what's up, okay? What I'm doing wrong? What makes me, what they doing? They doing something right and I'm just not getting it somehow? Come on, God. Let your girl know. Drop down some wisdom for me. But anyway, so Sarah does show up the way Miriam tells her, and she talks, and so Sarah and McKenna connect, and they're like, okay, in their minds they're thinking, all right, since God sent you, Sarah, and you struggle with infertility, then maybe this is gonna be Drea, her ending, like she's gonna get her miracle, like you got your miracle, so this is gonna turn out to be happily ever after. That's what they're kind of thinking in their mind. And that's like Sarah is talking, having little moments, and Drea opens up to her about infertility issues and all these different things, believing God. And Sarah, the character Sarah here, in her mind, she's thinking, yes, it gotta go this way. Why would God send me, of all people? And the more that the episode like progresses, it seems to be Sarah doesn't understand. Why doesn't she feel in her spirit that God is telling her to reveal the good news to Drea, like you're gonna have a baby in a year or whatever? Like, why isn't she feeling that push, that need to tell her this? And so they end up, and she tells McKenna about it. McKenna doesn't understand. She's like, I know, it just doesn't make sense. So they go back to headquarters to talk to Miriam about it, like, what is going on? It's like, it just seems like we're at a standstill. Like, why doesn't Sarah feel the need to reveal this wonderful news to her? And then Miriam was like, what makes you think that is what God has for her? And so it's just certain things that Miriam just throws out there, certain questions that makes these two characters, both Sarah and McKenna, ponder, like, wow, like they never really thought about, like, what if that wasn't God's plan for Drea? What if he said no? And it's crazy because I remember when I was a lot younger, this thought, what are we talking about now, that has never crossed my mind. I never thought about what if God said no. All I thought about is, I was one of them, like I mentioned in my last video, when we talked about the character Anna from You, Me, and Tuscany. One of those that was so quick to just jump and go, and I just knew it was going to be okay. That was it. I was just one of those. I was just one of those. I just went. I just was like that, okay? Didn't think twice about it, okay? And so I never really thought about that. And so when things didn't happen as quickly as I thought that it should happen back then, or maybe it didn't happen the way that I wanted them to happen, I just assumed, well, maybe I just need to believe more. Like this character here in this, like Drea in this episode, just assumed, well, maybe you just need to believe more. Maybe you just need to keep holding on, and eventually it's going to happen. I mean, why wouldn't it happen? It's not a bad thing. I'm believing God for. And so that never crossed my mind back then. It never did. And I never really struggled with this because it just never came up. If something didn't happen the way that I wanted it to, it was just like, okay, we going to something else, or whatever it turned out to be, I'm gonna make it something, or whatever. That was just my thing. And now that I'm a lot further in my journey, my eyes are open in a lot of different ways. I'm not that naive little girl or younger woman again. I think about certain things now. When I read my Bible, it is like it takes more. I just never really thought about that. And we explored this in this episode. Like, it takes more faith to believe God and continue to trust Him when you don't get your way, when you don't get what you want, even if what you want was a good thing, even if what you want, he promised it in the Bible. And there's nothing wrong with having children, right? Because that's what we're exploring in this episode. We see that in the Bible, that children are a blessing. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about certain things that are in the Bible, or when it comes to sickness. He said, by His stripes we're healed. So there's nothing wrong with healing and all of that, but it does take more faith. And I love that we explored this in this episode, to continue to believe and trust God when He said no. Like, how do you pick yourself up and continue to love Him, continue to honor Him, continue to be obedient to Him, continue to love Him like you've never been hurt, when you know the one thing that you wanted more than anything, He said, this is not for you. And He never told you why. And that's what we're dealing with in this episode. I cried so many tears. Like, the first few times I watched it so many different times. Then I watched it again today because I wanted to make sure that we talked about all the things that we need to talk about. And yes, tears are exploding down my face, out of my eyes, because it is so difficult, and people don't talk about this enough. They don't explore this enough, because if they did, it would be so many people who wouldn't be feeling so, like, had this character feel in this episode, like, broken to the point, like one of the things she asked Sarah was, did I do something wrong? Like, almost like, does God hate me and love this one because he allowed this one to have this, but He didn't give me this? Like, what did I do wrong? And if people talked about this type of thing more, explored this type of thing more, I feel like it would bring so much healing, and it would take away so many people who probably turned away from their faith because of this, because of the lack of understanding, because they felt like, well, maybe God don't love me anymore, or maybe God hates me, or maybe I'm just not worthy of this type of life because I'm not good in some kind of way, or whatever. It's so many different things that can go extremely haywire wrong because of people been made to feel a certain way. And it's not by God, it's usually by other people, because in moments like this, most people turn to other people. Most people get on a soapbox and start talking to this one and that one, who have no clue about anything, who have not been where you've been, so they don't even have the right to even speak on what you're going through because they're not there, and they only gonna speak from their experience most of the time. That's how most people move. You rarely have someone move with wisdom and who's like slow to speak and would say, basically, we'll go to God in prayer first to see, okay, how do I maneuver this? How do I tell this person? How can I be a comfort to this person? God, have Him order your steps, direct your paths, and all of that. And that's what I love that the character Sarah did in this episode. When she didn't understand certain things, and in a sense, in your flesh, you want to run and rescue people. You want to help them. You want to give them that hope right off the bat. Who wouldn't want to when you see someone in pain and struggling with their faith and struggling with certain things that you don't understand? The first thing you want to do is just quickly bring them some kind of peace, some kind of comfort. You want to wrap your arms around them with your words and even with your physical self. That's how we want to do quick first in our flesh. But how many people go to God in prayer and allow God to do what he does best? Like, you tell me, God, what this person needs. What can I say? What can I do to bring them comfort or some kind of wisdom or something? And Sarah does this in this episode, and she learns from God, or from Miriam. And God have already let Miriam know that basically how Adria's story is going to end is she's not going to have a baby. And Sarah had to deliver this news knowing that she got her miracle. And yet you have to witness to this woman here who's not going to get hers for sure. And Miriam points out sometimes we always think that it's our ending, our blessing, the testimony, in a sense, that is what gives people, like, that you feel like that's what people need. You want to give them that hope and stuff. But Miriam was pointing out, and I thought that was so real. She told Sarah, sometimes it's that middle part, that messy middle, because Sarah had a messy middle. Before she even had her miracle baby, she tried to do things on her own and ruined your marriage. You send your own husband to the arms of another woman instead of trusting God that he was going to keep his word and give you your baby in his timing. And it was that messy middle that Sarah wasn't proud of. But that was what Miriam told her. Sometimes that is what helps people more, when they see that what you went through, that hardship, and how do you maneuver through that? How did God get you through that to get them through what they're going through, especially when they're not going to get that miracle. And so it was such a beautiful episode, y'all. Like I said, it's deep, it's challenging. Like, you see how I went all over. Took y'all on a little bit of a spiritual roller coaster here. But that's how you're going to do it. But they do it, of course, a lot way better than me. A lot more smoother in this episode. And, of course, you get to see and you get to journey with the characters, McKenna, Sarah, Drea, and her husband here. And another thing I want to point out, too, like, her husband was such a good husband here, because he had to go on this journey. He's a pediatrician as well. Of course, he wanted kids with his wife, and you can see that he's in love with his wife, and they built this wonderful life for themselves, and they wanted this for their families, the family that they expect and were believing God to have. But he had already accepted a lot sooner than Drea that this wasn't God's plan for them. And he looked at her in her eyes and told her that it didn't make him love her any less, that she was enough for him. And what he needed from her is to know that he was enough for her. That even though they may not get the family that they wanted in the way that they wanted, could they be okay with just being enough for one another? And I was like, he was such a good husband to be, because he didn't blame her. He didn't beat her down when she was already down, make her feel that much worse, because sometimes women can feel even worse when they are the issue, or their bodies are the issue, why they can't have a kid or whatever. And it can really, like, women have gone through it with that guilt and that shame, especially when everyone around them seemingly has no issues with that and living their best lives. So I love that the husband did that, and he was just content to love on her and to be there for her in their journey together. So it was beautiful. It was hard. It was challenging. I told you, you're gonna shed some tears, but at the end of the day, it's gonna make you think. And I hope that as soon as you run into the arms of Jesus for whatever you may be dealing with, believing God for, or struggling with, go to the word. Don't run to man. Don't run to a human being. Only God can help us, especially in situations like this, when we have to accept those hard no's. Only God can give you that peace to accept it and to move on, to move forward. So that's all I have for y'all. This is, once again, the show is titled These Stones, streaming right now on YouTube. This was season 1, episode 3. And before I leave y'all for today, y'all know we got to get into the scripture, and we're coming out of this. This is so crazy, y'all, because I was thinking, see, I'm about to do like I was about to do like Sarah did And on this episode, you want to bring people hope, especially when you don't talk about something so challenging and difficult. So that was my plan. When I opened up my Bible, I was going to try to find some scripture on giving y'all some hope. Child, y'all know what? I opened up the Bible. It landed on this scripture in Isaiah, which I don't even be in Isaiah like that. So I was like, God, you want me to tell them this? But here we go, right? So we're coming out of Isaiah 47, verse 9. And it reads, but these two things shall come to you in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon you in their fullness, because of the multitude of your sorceries, for the great abundance of your enchantments. That's tough, ain't it? So yeah, that's all I have for y'all for this video. Y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feeling about this show thus far, about this review. Did I take you on a journey? Did y'all have fun? Had a good time? Let me know where you are in your own personal walk, your own personal journey with the Lord. So until next time, may the Lord bless and keep you both now and forevermore.